So you have a Pulsar instance, and you can have multiple clusters, and all you do is basically add them. So if this one is in geographical region in the United States, and this one is in Europe, you have an instance that allows you to manage those. From a logical perspective, within each cluster, you can have multiple tenants, right? So think of it as a data services tenant, a marketing tenant, and a compliance tenant. These would represent different logical or sub-organizations within a larger organization. So again, they provide an organizational security boundary, their basic unit of categorization for topics. Everything must belong to a tenant and a namespace, but the very basic one is which tenant you belong to first. And again, you can manage different, storage and isolation policies at the tenant level and the namespace level. Below each tenant is the namespace. So you have an ETL of namespace or campaign namespace. And again, these are logical groupings of different topics themselves. They have their own policies assigned to them. Create a separate namespace. You can create one for each application or groups of applications. And it allows you to manage a collection of topics. So you put it, again, you'll have a topic that belongs to a tenant and then a namespace. And there's different policies, security policies you can put in place at the tenant level, and then data retention and data access layers, and the policies you set at the namespace level as well to control how that data is stored and managed and accessible. And again, there's different, so it gives you granular control over data access and security and retention. And then last but not least, and below all that are your topics, right? So we can have a customer authentication topic underneath the microservices namespace, underneath the data center services tenant. It forms a unique namespace. So you'll have a tenant namespace topic is the URI, universal resource identifier for that particular topic. Access data from that. Now, if you publish to and it doesn't exist, they get created automatically for you. And when you start the Pulsar cluster by default, it gives you a unique public tenant and a default namespace. You also notice at the beginning of the URI that there's a persistence indicator. Everything that has persistent on it is guaranteed to be stored to disk. So your data guarantees apply only to the persistent topics. So again, fleshing that out, finally, this is kind of how it looks. You have one cluster, multiple tenants. Each tenant has multiple namespaces, and each namespace can have one or more topics.